Hi, welcome to my thesis topic, Framing Conditions, Spatial Navigation, and the Experience. Before I dive into my project, I want to briefly introduce my research and analysis of what framing is in my thesis. The intention of framing derives from the actual object frame. When we talk about frames, I believe the hollow structure is the first thing that comes to our minds. Nowadays, I want to point out frames can also be referred to as paintings, windows, and digital screens. However, in a way, all the frames indicate one purpose, framing. So, what is framing? My definition is that framing equals highlighting, underlining, and emphasizing. The purpose of framing is to attract people's attention and decide what is worth looking at. If we see the frame is an actual object, then framing is a concept and the intention behind it. Based on my research, I categorize framing into three approaches. Metaphorical framing, for example, the medium of painting allows recreating, romanticizing, and abstracting images. Perceptual framing, for example, the transparency of windows extends interior space dimensions both spatially and perceptually. Virtual framing, for example, the digital screen expands the virtuality of the dimension of a frame and extends the virtuality of senses onto this projective screen. These three approaches of framing occupy our daily life anywhere at any time. Framing transforms into a universal phenomenon that can addictively attract people's attention and lead people to agree with what is worth looking at subconsciously. Nevertheless, I believe framing can function beyond an act and intention to explore the spatial potential of interiors. Adopting the conceptual philosophy of framing to the actual design provides a new methodology to enhance spatial navigation, experience, and engagement. I choose to apply my framing methodology in Greeny Park because the current design lacks such guidance to function as a nice park fully. Greeny Park is located between 32nd Street and 33rd Street, Broadway and 6th Avenue in Manhattan, New York City. It sits in a busy block with heavy pedestrian traffic. Next to Macy's shopping mall and Koreatown, Greeny Park is surrounded by shopping, dining, hotel, residency, office building, and landmark. As a small-scale public park, it potentially can be the perfect transition between busy blocks. However, the current Greeny Park hasn't nearly served the purpose. Due to the disorder in layout, various decorations, and poor maintenance, the current design fails to achieve the goal of a public park, providing an urban space for people to build a connection to the surroundings mentally and physically. In summary, Greely Park contains three major issues: focal point, navigation, and experience. The statue of Horace Greeley that is supposed to be the focal point of the space has taken up a huge amount of space and barely attracts people's attention to it. The navigation in this urban space has been blocked by the inappropriate positions of numerous trash cans, planters, metal chairs, and tables. Likewise, the experience has been severely lacking. The public toilet and the food court area right across to each other, the spatial flow is clogged, the aesthetic expression is absent, and more importantly, the sensory engagement has been impossible to be realized in this particular park. With the lack of proper use of framing, Greeny Park has happened to be disconnected, disordered, and detached. By applying these ideologies and methodologies of framing to redesign the sequence of Greeny Park, I intend to create a relaxing, comfortable, and interactive urban interior for the public to enhance their sensory perception, spatial navigation, and intimate engagement. My approach to redesigning Greeny Park is to create a sequential layout by overturning the existing construction and building up a new urban interior. I remove the current construction of utilities, the statue of Horace Greeley, fully maintained gardens, the aging tables and the chairs, and the messy layouts of planters and trash cans. All in all, I aim to reduce the chaos caused by dispersive objects and constructions. However, the current park design elements can remain but have to be realized in a different form. Therefore, I redesigned the park into 3 sections. Section A remains the current utilities, the public toilets and the food court. The new construction provides a comfortable and a decent distance between these 2 places. Simultaneously, the grassland, trees, seats, and tables bring a more comfortable and relaxing ambience to the urban environment. Section B has added a new element that replaces the original statue to be a new focal point. The carved-in viewing area with a new stage platform and the projective screen expands the limited space of the Greeny Park dimensionally and virtually. Section C functions as a combination of garden and an installation. By creating a maze-like structure of translucent screen installation, it highlights the gardening design. Furthermore, it can capture people's engagement and interaction metaphorically through projecting the silhouette shadow on the translucent screen. How people approach and enter this urban interior park is part of my consideration in design. The public can walk from 4 main directions: Koreatown, 32nd Street, 33rd Street, and 6th Avenue. When people enter Greeny Park from different directions, what they would notice, what would attract their attention, and how they would navigate space are my main focuses for the next 3 minutes. Different sizes and proportions of window frames have different purpose in my design. The vertical long strip windows lining up together can capture people's sequence of movement of different positions in different moments. The horizontal windows are installed to only focus on the hands. It draws people's attention to how the food is being prepared and cooked. The use of the windows here specifically emphasizes and reveals the intimate process of food making. The ceiling window aims to bring more natural light in the interior space, which provides the workers inside a break to connect to the outdoor urban environment. Since it is an enclosed food stall, the mere installation, wall window, and pickup windows break the solid boundary between the kitchen and the park, and build a mutual interaction for people preparing the food inside and enjoying the food outside. The privacy and the dignity of public toilets are normally neglected in the design process. To maximize efficiency, the public restroom needs to be extremely narrow and crowded. My new construction aims to provide 2 times bigger public toilet space than the current one in my design. By pulling up the entrance wall and only leaving the bottom part transparent, it creates a sense of privacy and comfort. Besides, the bigger dimension gives back the dignity to such personal needs. Instead of exposing the entire circular stage platform to the public, I intended to wrap up space by keeping all the moving visual images and the immersive experience inside. It reduces the visual distractions for the people passing by, but only leaves a glance for people to grasp what's going on inside. The circular shape softens the rugged edges of the park to be more welcoming. The use of concrete constructs a clean and simple area to embrace people's engagement. It is precious to have some greeneries in New York City. However, the original space of the garden in Greeny Park is poorly maintained. The installation of large panels of translucent screens provides a protective shell that has aesthetic expression at the same time. By dividing the whole space into various subspaces, the translucent screen creates a more personal and intimate installation-like space for people to interact and engage in a garden closely. The existence of sidewalk leaves space for people to navigate through the park without being stopped. The linear layout of the wood panel screen on only one side ensures the safety of pedestrians. Visually, it doesn't block the whole space of the park, but also separates the busy traffic roads and the walking area. Meanwhile, the pedestrians have the chance to look inside of the Greeny Park and have a quick sense of the spatial layout. To some extent, the interior design is a profession of framing. It applies colors, spatial layouts, sensory engagement, and other elements to frame the possible and the potential inhabitable experience. The ideology and the methodology of framing derive from the utilization of frames, and they extend into a conceptual and perceptual exploration of our physical, spatial, and sensory interaction with daily life. As a result, the comprehension of framing in various mediums and contexts can provide a possibility of creating genuinely poetic, sensate, and inclusive space for everyone. Thank you.